Hello everyone, my name is Tooways Asmal. Welcome to another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to be successful other than just climbing the corporate ladder. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and the show will be available on podcast by tomorrow. For those listening on the podcast, please leave a rating. If you're watching live, drop a one in the comments so that I know I'm not talking to myself, and drop a two in the comments if you're watching the recording. So today is a bit of an unplanned stream. I'll be talking about my biggest career mistakes. The aim of the session is to share my mistakes and learnings from them so that you don't repeat the same mistakes that I did. Hopefully, that means that you progress further and faster than I did. Now, I'm not going to build up to my biggest mistake just to make you watch the whole session. I'm going to state it at the start of the session, and then I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into what went wrong and maybe how to avoid it, or even what I learned from it. Now, my biggest mistake, my biggest career mistake by far was chasing fancy job titles. I might say, Ways, what does that mean? I moved to the C suite too soon because I was chasing fancy job titles. I wanted the title, but I didn't have the leadership mindset at the time. I wasn't experienced enough. I was still scared to make decisions, and I still relied on asking others to approve things instead of making the call myself. Prior to stepping into that role, I always had someone senior above me who needed to approve something before I could go ahead with the work. So I came into that new role with that same mindset, and that was my downfall. Looking for affirmation for my choices was a problem. I also did not, excuse me, I did not have enough leadership experience at the time. I led audit teams, but that is very different to leading other teams who are perhaps not always as motivated to succeed. Trainee accountants are generally very motivated to succeed because they are trying to qualify as chartered accountants. When you're working with people who that's maybe their final job, or it's been their job for the last 10 years, and that's going to be the job for the next 10 years, some of those people are coasting. Some are doing the minimum not to get fired. And some have real world problems to deal with. And work is actually their safe haven. So, understanding what motivates each of your team members will go a long way to your own success. Being a micromanager will not get you far in the long run. It might help you in the short run, but your team will probably grow to hate you, to be honest. Even now and then, I still catch myself looking for someone to approve the work that I want to do. But I immediately stop myself and remember to step into my own power. And it's something I constantly had to work on. That leadership mindset didn't necessarily come naturally. So it's something that I work on and continuously work on. Now, if I wanted to split hairs, I could say that in that first C suite role, there wasn't much support for me, or they didn't provide training. But as a leader, some you need to take or I need to take responsibility, and blaming others is not showing leadership. Expecting training when someone is in a leadership work, so expecting other people to figure out what you need when you are in a leadership position is also not showing leadership, because you are the leader. You should go to them and say, this is what I need, this is what I lack, because you are the leader and I was the leader at the time. This is a bit of a short stream, but I'll be responding to questions towards the end. So please add your questions to the comment section now so that I don't miss them. So in my first foray into the C-suite, I didn't end up in that position for very long for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. After that, I ended up moving back to a consulting role. In that consulting role and that organization, I managed to progress into a managerial role and then an executive role. And yes, we all make mistakes along the way, but I learned and I kept growing and I kept progressing more naturally into that leadership position, as opposed to moving from one position to another without much scope or without much change. One important thing that I learned is that no mistake is a complete loss. For every bad, quote unquote, bad job, or a job that didn't fit me at the time that I was appointed for, whether I stayed long or not, I made connections, I learned new skills, I grew, and I learned what not to do in my next role. So, mindset helps a lot with that. Mindset is extremely important in how you approach any job. Even if you have a bad manager, even if you have a difficult role, even if you think you've made the wrong choice. Yes, by all means, in the meantime, if you're in a difficult position or working for a difficult manager or in a role that doesn't suit you, actively continue looking for a new job, but don't throw in the towel in the job that you're still in. There may still be opportunities, but if you close yourself off to any opportunities, then you won't gain anything from that situation. I learned something from every single job that I've had. No matter how long, no matter how short, no matter how good or how bad the situation, there was something to learn, there was people to connect with, and there was something to take back. Even if it's this is what I should not do going forward, or this is the situation I do not want to be in going forward. But nothing is ever cut and dry. There's always things to learn, and it's important that we learn. In closing, I want to leave you with this message. Remember, this is your life. You are responsible for it. If you want to succeed, it's on you. You can blame other people for you not succeeding, and you might be right. But the problem is that the only person it will negatively affect is you. So take charge of your growth, take charge of your life. Remember, the final decision is yours. Even if you make the wrong decision, you can learn from it and you can succeed. You can change your decision, you can learn, and you can succeed. That was a quick one from me. The show has been live on YouTube and should be available on podcast by tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast and you feel that it's added value, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. It also really helps with sharing the show to others when you share or when you like and you add comments. Thank you very much for joining me for another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat, a very short one.